What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I wanted to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers, and break down some very big data coming out for the markets that's going to cause some high volatility. What you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I break into all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Mumu link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Mumu with the link down below and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks. The offer ends very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's going on with Tesla. Seeing the market right now, we're attempting to push right now, but Tesla's also approaching a key resistance at this 188 area, which is very close to the 5 minutes 200 EMA. So yes, Tesla's trying to push up, but it's approaching some tight resistance. So we're going to be watching this very carefully. In my video in the morning, I said that Tesla might actually see a lot of sideways price action in the 188s. We actually dropped first and then came back up. Now we're approaching this area, but we're still kind of stuck around here. We're going to be watching to see how well the market reacts to this. SPY is also approaching some resistance at 488, so I'm going to be watching that as well. But I want to talk about something else that's going to affect the market heavily. So right now, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter so much as to what SPY is doing, what Tesla is doing, because we only have about an hour and a half of trading left, a little bit more than that, and something very big is going on. So we have the big tech earnings for today. We have Apple, Amazon, and Meta all announcing their earnings. This is going to cause some high volatility. So we're going to be watching this very, very carefully. Apple and Amazon could shake the entire market. Their earnings are going to be very important, and guidance is going to be key about what ends up happening for the future. So watch this very carefully after the market closes for today. It's going to cause some crazy volatility. Now, the reason why I'm warning you about this is because if you're holding anything overnight, it could work out. You might make crazy money, but at the same time, it's kind of risky because you never know what could happen with these earnings. So I just want to let you know that you should be careful, be mindful of this, and know what the risks are. Otherwise, I'm not giving financial advice. Do what you want to do. You could still make crazy money playing these. But I just want to give you guys a warning. Now, Tesla also announced that it's upgrading the Model Y in China as the BYD competition is heating up. And this is good news for Tesla. It's going to come with the hardware 4.0, which provides a set of camera sensors, the computer, free of charge when a customer purchases the car, and that's additional cameras and more other benefits. And on top of this, they're going to upgrade the Model Y as things are basically competing in China. So that's some good news for Tesla, upgrading the self-driving hardware Model Y itself in China. This is going to provide them with more and more benefits. And right now, they haven't officially launched the FSD beta in China yet, but they may do this later on during the process of trying to do it. This will help them gain more and more resources to improve the technology. So with that being said, let's talk about what's happening with SPY in the market, at least for like the short term, and also what's going to pan out when earnings come out. So Tesla, excuse me. I mentioned that Tesla might trade sideways in this range. You can see we are technically range bound. Tesla saw a drop in the morning. We came down. I was saying it's going to drop first and maybe rebound and trade sideways. It actually dropped a little bit more than expected, all the way down to 184.44. Then it came back up and we're just trading sideways in this range. We may continue to do so. Watch 188 as key resistance and also the 50 EMA, the 200 EMA, excuse me, on the 5 minute time frame. If we break above that, I could be watching for a push for 190, but we're not really there yet. For support, we have minor support at 186.5 ish. If we lose that, our next target is going to be 184.44. Otherwise, we're just range bound. We're going back and forth, and we're still kind of stuck in this range right here near the 188. We've been stuck here for about 2 hours between 186 and 188. So I think it might just continue to do so as time goes on. We might see this thing sell off just a little bit on the lower end, but otherwise, I don't think the move matters as much. Now, that's just for the next 1.5 hours of trading. I also want to add that there's going to be a big move once we get the earnings from Apple and Amazon. If we get strong earnings, and let's just say these big tech stocks pump, this will add momentum for Tesla to try to push back into the 190 plus area. If we get a rug pull thanks to the big tech earnings, we could see Tesla end up dropping back down to 182. So just be careful, guys. If you're holding overnight, just be careful, be mindful of what's about to come out, and we'll see how the big tech earnings go. But just know the last 1.5 hours of trading for today doesn't really matter as much. For SPY, you can see we have this resistance zone right here. We kind of touched the 188 area, rejected, came back down, approaching support at 486, back up to 488, and then back down. So it's just going back and forth and back and forth. I do want to mention that We're getting a rejection here. We might end up coming back down a little bit. I'll be watching this very carefully. We might just remain in this range as time goes on. I could see SPY drop a little bit from here, so just be a little bit careful as we got this rejection. And don't forget to watch our very, very key levels. If I go to the SPY charts on the 5 minutes time frame, we have supports approaching at the 20 EMA, the 15 to 200. Watch these all very carefully as supports. That's just a little hint for the day. And otherwise, it is starting to turn just a bit, so be very careful. Now, that's just for like the super short term. What about after earnings? Well, when the earnings come out for Amazon and Apple and Meta, expect some crazy volatility. We have big tech earnings. We have three of them at the same time. So if we get a launch, especially from Apple, as guidance is going to be key, SPY could push back to the 490s and continue pushing. If we get a rug pull, expect this thing to come all the way back down to at least 484 or even below that. So a big drop is coming, maybe even bigger, a bigger drop than 484, maybe below that. So be very careful looking at SPY. I wanted to give you guys a warning about that. If you're holding overnights, be careful. If you're willing to risk it, it is what it is. You'll be fine. But just know, if I were to play this, I would manage my risks very well and be very careful. For the QQQ, if we're bullish, for now we're kind of range trading, by the way, between 421.5 and 420. We have a little bit of a tight range right here. We might just remain in the range for the rest of the day. But here's the thing, after the earnings come out, we're going to be looking to see this thing push either up to 423.8, or we could be looking for a rug pull back down to 418, if not 416. Otherwise, we're kind of stuck in the range for the remainder of the day. So I'll be watching this very, very carefully. We'll be watching to see how Apple and Amazon end up doing. If they launch us upwards, 423.8 plus is coming. If they give us the rug pull, we could be coming back down to 416, if not 412 on the QQQ. The QQQ is going to be more impacted than SPY, so be very, very careful and make sure you guys are ready for this. Expect some high volatility overnight. For Nvidia, I said in my video, I'm a little bullish on Nvidia. We have a nice cup and handle information, but I warned you we might drop first before we see an accumulation. Right now, Nvidia held 616.5, and now we're trying to push back up to the resistance at 628. If we break this, we could be approaching the all-time highs all over again. So far, Nvidia is showing some life, so we're going to be watching to see how well it holds. Now, if we zoom out of Nvidia, one could argue we have kind of like a head and shoulders like structure. In order for us to invalidate this, we need to see big tech help Nvidia push up above this resistance. If we could break 635, Nvidia is going to be pushing closer to 640. If we reject here, this could be a head and shoulders like structure, and we could see Nvidia come back down. So you want to be very careful. Let's see what the big tech earnings bring us. They're going to cause some high volatility in the markets, so be very careful. That's my warning for everyone. Be very careful. We'll see how it ends up going. But don't forget, Nvidia could still break out depending on the big tech earnings. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens overnight. Now, finally, for Apple, Apple is also very sideways. I predicted Apple would just trade sideways at around 185 to 186.5. That was my prediction in the morning. And so far, it's pretty close to what's been going on. We're kind of stuck in this range. But all that's happening is, in my opinion, Apple. They dropped it here to grab liquidity, and that now it's just kind of tight. So it's tightening because they're getting ready for some big surges in volatility. This means that Apple's either going to be launching closer to 190, or it's about to get a rug pull into the low 180s or below that. A big move is most likely coming, so get ready. It's going to shake the markets. Get ready for the big tech earnings after market close. This is going to be huge for the stock market. This is going to determine, excuse me, guys, this will determine if the market's going to keep pumping or if the market's about to get a big rug pull. Be prepared, be ready, do what you have to do, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Tesla is still range trading in the 180s, might just be stuck within this range. As you can see, it's been going back and forth between 186 and 188. Might continue to do so, but then we'll see what the big move is. Does Tesla get a support boost thanks to the other tickers out there, thanks to Apple and big tech, to push back into the 190s, or do we get a rug pull back down to the low 180s? Let's just wait and see, guys. Let's be patient. Remember to manage risks and do what you have to do. Thank you for listening. Tesla and the market to the moon, because the long term is still incredibly bright, and peace out.